a pain, isn't it?
Well, you have to restream, yeah, and start the stream again, which is really annoying. So
And then you get a different link too, don't you? So
well, no, the whole thing's a nightmare. So the only thing I can do here is that because I'm recording on the streamer on this end, I've got one whole file that I can then edit and then upload to the channels and say this is what the whole program was, which is okay. So Gray, I've actually got another colleague of yours off the Isle of Wight here, somebody who you've probably never actually met, Richard Simpson. Hello, Richard. How are you?
I think we have met. Me and Rich and I.
Hello, Richard.
Hello, how are you doing, guys? Yes, Graham, we've met.
Yeah, I know. See, there you go. I said we had Nick.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I thought I was the matchmaker. I wanted all the glory for that.
We all chat on the train journey up to Oxford once as well.
Yeah, I know. That's right. Very true.
So you're supposed to be home now, Richard Simpson. You're still in school by the look of it, are you?
Had a little bit of extra work to do today, Nick, so I've been in detention, self-imposed detention.
Really? Oh dear.
I can't see you, Rich. Can you see me?
You need to go on the. You need to have a YouTube screen up, Graham. Don't you remember this, or did we not do it like this?
Oh yeah, now I can see.
So what are you doing? Are you on YouTube? Are you?
No, I'm on Twitter.
Okay, just make sure you have the audio down on that. Otherwise, we'll get a slight delay.
Yeah.
So you can see each other. So so I was just saying, this is the bloke show, isn't it? I've reached out. We actually had budget for Arts Council to fund some artists, but we were a little bit late. But nobody came back, which is a bit of a shame, actually. But it's always difficult with short notice. I know.
It's tricky, isn't it? Getting people. I think it was short notice as well. So yeah, we managed to log on, and the kids were very impressed. They saw you saying hello, and we've sent you the pictures of the I Love Art stuff that they've done today, Nick, as well. So.
Yeah, I got those. Yeah, they were great. So we've got 4 of those. So what I'll do is and you put them on a blue background as well, didn't you? Which is very, very convenient.
Oh yeah, I remember. I'm learning.
That's good. So
How many kids have you had in today, Rich?
We had 16, I think, this morning, and then a few sort of half day here or there. Yeah, we're round about 18, 20 most days.
What is that? The whole school?
That's from early years right up to 6. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
So we've got about this. We've got about 15, 16 in early Key Stage 1, and we've got 20 in Key Stage 2 in today.
That's quite right then, isn't it?
So
yeah, because we're single formatory, aren't we? So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We started thinking about what to do. With the announcements last night. We've worked out we'll have about 260 kids in school.
Out of how many would you normally have?
440.
Oh, you're 2 formentary, are you?
Yeah.
So you'll have to physically, socially distance them.
Oh yeah.
Right, it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, especially reception year 1, Rich?
Well, most of our kids in today were reception year 1. To be honest, I'd say 8 out of the 11 this afternoon were reception year 1, and keeping them apart is nigh on impossible.
And you just can't do it, can you? You really can't do it. It's mad.
The best intentions in the world. That they want to be climbing, they want to be playing, they're picking stuff up, they're touching stuff. Unless you put them in their own separated little bubble or area that they're sort of fenced into, it's impossible. If you want them to be doing stuff rather than just sitting looking at a screen, or you want them to be active. We got the PE equipment out today, and I suddenly thought, actually, should we be letting them? Should we be disinfecting in between each turn of throwing the javelin, or it's throwing up all these questions that we don't know the answers to, and it's not fair to put people in that position. I don't think, when we don't know, how much it's spreading, how dangerous it is. Yeah.
Well, that's the interesting thing for me. The whole point, I guess, was to try and minimise the opportunities for transferal, but the challenge is putting teachers and leaders in that position. And you almost need to let the kids. The government is saying let the kids do what they need to do, because the kids were never socially distancing in school, were they? In the last month, as long as the teachers didn't put themselves and their family at risk. But then teachers and leaders have caught coronavirus and died in this period, whether it was directly through children.
Nick, 45, something like that.
Say again, sorry.
I think it was around 45, isn't it?
I don't know. Gosh, that's terrible. And anyone's bad enough. But whether it was, however they were contracted. So Richard, we met when I was over on the Isle of Wight a couple of months ago, and really quite taken by your love of books and your literacy thing, or not literacy, literature, passion for the love of reading. Remind me of that book. Was it a Pullman book? What was that one again? Remember that story?
Yeah, you came in on World Book Day, didn't you? So you had an audience dressed as everything from Pippi Longstocking up to James Bond and all sorts in between.
I thought that was our little secret, Richard. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, you caught me talking to my class about a Philip Pullman book. He was one of my lecturers at university, so I was showing them that as a sort of prized possession. He'd signed and dedicated the book to me. But the book that we had a big discussion about was the one that I was using for my cross-curricular project. It was a book called The Explorer by Catherine Mitchell. Fantastic author. She's written a couple of really good books, The Wolf Wilder, another one that's just come out called The Good Thieves. But The Explorer in particular is one I've used with my Year 6 class. It's about a plane crash in the Amazon, and 4 children basically get stranded, and it's about their fight for survival to try and get out of the Amazon. They're 4 very different characters as well, each one of them very distinct. So what I love about it is, of those 4 characters, nearly every child in the class can identify with one or other of them. So it really engages. And it's just an absolutely brilliant adventure story. These children, stuck, having to build rafts, having to work out how to overcome problems, and then thrown into the mix of it all, they stumble across an ancient Maya city with a lost explorer in it who doesn't want to help them escape for his own reasons. And it just puts so many things together for me. There's geography, there's history, there's science, there's the DT projects you can get from it. There's all the writing, obviously. Honestly, it's the book. I think people must be fed up with me recommending it because I could talk about it all afternoon. But the hook for me is there's an episode in the book where the children are learning how they need to feed themselves to be able to survive their journey. And this explorer teaches them how to catch and eat tarantulas. So if you look on one of the BBC websites, there's one of these news round episodes where they go to Peru and they follow these children who live in one of these tribes and show them actually catching tarantulas and encouraging them out of their burrows and then catching them with a stick and cooking them over a fire. I managed to get hold of some tarantulas from a supplier in Thailand. And had them in class. And when we read this out, I sort of did the old, can you imagine eating tarantulas? I couldn't do that. That's disgusting. And you get all the brave boys in class going, I'd do that. Yeah, all right. And so you just happen to turn around to my desk drawer and bring out a handful and see who was ready to put their money where their mouth was.
Amazing. So yeah. we hatched an idea chatting away, talking about hatching and spiders' eggs and all that sort of stuff. So Graham can't do enough, so he's done his BrewEd isolation. He's done a BrewEd global this weekend. We already had a a weekend festival, 29th, 30th and 31st of May. I've been talking to Darren and Ed for about 6 months about doing a BrewEd SteamCo and other creative care organisation collaboration. I don't want it to be about CPD, but this is about common ground, because we are all human beings. Let's face it, you go to a teacher event, you find that 80% in common, but when you go out with your friends, you probably don't talk about teaching a lot. The 80 becomes the 20% probably. And what we want to do is run a festival, like a sort of Camp Festival-y kind of creative art type thing, and bring teachers and everybody together. And so we were talking to a massive festival for the end of May. They've obviously not been able to confirm and commit. Ed put a poll out, and 2,000 people said they would come to a festival at the end of May and would pay money for that as well if there was a BrewEd angle, which was amazing. We've had to park that, so we're doing it. We're doing it virtually, 29th, 30th, 31st of May. We're going to do a virtual festival. We've got some amazing people we're talking to about speaking and performing and at that. And also we want to get some of the people we've met on this journey. I don't know if you saw the thing we did Saturday night from Bude, but we had a guitarist, saxophonist literally jamming in his studio at home. Did you catch any of that, Graham, out of interest?
Yeah, I did actually. What was I doing Saturday? I can't remember now. No, but I didn't, Nick. No.
No, not to worry.
How are you going to do that then, Nick?
So, well, it's very similar to this. It's going to be very similar.
Sounds amazing. But
It's going to be very similar to what you're doing with your Brew Ed thing, in terms of that. There's a bunch of events all online. We'll use StreamYard and whatever, but StreamYard will provide the conferencing functionality, but we'll do a high quality vision mix into the top end. So what you're seeing now, I think, it's just different boxes in a different place, but you can see that there's greater creative potential here, Graham, than you get in StreamYard, for example, because it's a different level. What we'll do is we'll take the video feed that you see now into the StreamYard mix, and then people will be underneath that, and then we can bring them in and bring them out. But what I would love to see, even the BBC, when they've done these concerts with people like Elton John, you just got him sat there in an armchair at home. It just looks a bit rubbish. The lighting's not right. So if they're on a green screen...
Singing wasn't right either, to be fair.
Yeah, whatever. So if these people on green screen, so the guy on Saturday night put a blue sheet up behind him, and we managed to vision mix him into the sun's going down on the beach 2 miles up the coast. And then we put the mirror ball and smoke machine on it, and it was a real-time vision mix. It was really quite fun. So if we can, and the good thing about StreamYard, and that's much better than this, you don't get that 8-second delay. You only get like a half-second latency on StreamYard as well. So it means that everybody will be in real time as well. Because you watching on YouTube now is not ideal, because when I say look at this, you have to wait 8 seconds for you to see it and then comment.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, we'll have people performing and in front of green screens, and we'll superimpose them on a stage or some sort of a setting, but also enable people to Skype in or chat in and ask them questions, so to make it a bit more interactive.
Have you got any sneaky little previews about what you're going to have for it? Any names?
No, we'll give you one in a minute for our book festival though. So the week before that would have been the Hay Book Festival, which we wanted to do something at, and Richard's been working on that. So we did chuck a book to you the other day. We've got this thing called the Pass a Kids book, which we throw a book on the video, and you didn't catch yours, Graham, I don't think. So that's your job tonight.
To be fair,
you've been quite busy, haven't you?
I haven't got any kids' books at home at the moment. Mine are all at school, locked away in my classroom. But
that's a fair enough answer.
I really wanted to do Watership Down. That's the book I want to get.
Well, let's get creative then. Get a piece of A4, scribble a picture of a rabbit on the front, write Watership Down on it, and chuck it out the video and chuck it to Chris Dyson or somebody, or Ed Finch. Let's get this ball rolling. So,
fair one.
So basically, this is the Hay Kids Book Fest. Did you know there was a literary festival this weekend? Did you? No. Did either of you know? So, Richard, you're a big book fan. Did you know there was the virtual literature festival this weekend? Did you know, Richard? I
saw a bit of it. I think it was aimed more at adult than children.
Well, you are an adult, but occasionally. But no, it's just funny because it's a massive virtual platform they've built for all the book festivals that had to cancel could be delivered on this platform, a bit like we've built this. I don't know how it went because I didn't see anything and I forgot to check it out. But to your point, there was nothing for kids' literature in there at all, as far as I could see. So it's a real shame, which is what made me think, let's do something. And let's do something the week of Hay Festival, because we could ride on the back of that. Really wanted to get Michael Rosen involved, because he's been very generous, but obviously he's been very ill, bless him. I hope he's getting better now. But that's what we're doing, Grace. So we're doing the Hay Kids Book Fest, 24th of May. Is that the Saturday or Sunday, Richard?
It's the Sunday.
Sunday, it's the 25th then,
kids' literature is some of the best, isn't it?
Well, absolutely.
It's amazing.
Recently,
Rich, how much do you spend on kids' books?
How much do I spend?
Yeah, personally.
This is being recorded, and my wife might see it, Graham. So I'll get in big trouble here. I had a chat with you and Ed Finch last night. He's got me in trouble. He's recommended a lot of books recently that I've bought. I have to get books delivered to school now, so my wife doesn't know how much I spend on kids' books. I'd say I probably spend £50 or £60 a month on books, on kids' books.
Yeah.
Fair play.
Yeah, it's easy to do, isn't it? It's so easy. The thing is, as educators, we want to expose our children to good literature and good books, and the school aren't going to pay for them, so we have to ourselves, don't we?
Yeah.
And that's interesting. So you're buying books that the kids will benefit from, but you're not able to get that paid for at all through the school because budgets are just so tight.
Yep.
Wow.
Most of the time. Well, I think we get a budget of about £100 a class to spend on new books each year, but that goes very, very quickly. So we have to top up our funding with things like we have a book fair. which is run by Scholastic, who actually do a really, really good payback scheme for us and commission scheme. We ended up getting 60% back from that last time, so we've got about £500 to spend. It was really well received last year at Christmas, but that's the way we're having to do it. And apart from that, if we need books, most of the time, unfortunately, it's a case of buy it yourself.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty rough, isn't
it? Did you enjoy myself and Ed last night doing our little thing at 9:30, Rich?
It was a bit impromptu, I felt, but it was just what I needed at the end of the day, Graham. I said, much appreciated. It was good fun.
It was definitely impromptu, Richard. We're thinking of doing it every Sunday, a bit like a heartbeat, for the new generation.
I missed that. What was that all about, Graham?
Well, last night I spoke to Ed after the announcement, and people seemed, people were concerned. There seemed to be quite high stress levels about, and so Ed and I did a StreamYard where we just had a chat and sung some songs, and just tried to make people feel a bit better about themselves, really. But before they went to sleep, and it was good. We had over 1,000 people watch it in the end. So
wow, what, live?
Good. And we had a few people say, that's just what we needed, and if that's what we, if that just made 5, 6 people happier, then it would have been worthwhile. Yeah.
Fantastic. So I'm just juggling around here, just trying to find something to cut to in a minute. Let me cut to you, Richard. So Richard, you've been working on our keynote speaker for our Hey Kids Book Fest, haven't you?
Yes, very exciting. Do you want am I allowed to reveal?
Hang on one second.
Confirmation?
I just want to get one. Hang on a second. I just want to pull an image up. I might as well get this right. I was going to say we should get Graham to try and guess who it is, but I don't know if that's a fair thing.
Have you spoken to SF Saeed as well?
I have, yeah. He did a great talk on your initial brew ed, didn't he? He was fantastic.
Yeah, he's great. I love him.
Yeah,
listen to him for ages. Is he going to do your thing, Rich?
He was busy when I last asked, but I think the dates were slightly different. So I can email him again and see. But he was keen to help out if he could. But I think he's quite in demand because he's such a good speaker. But I think the keynote speaker that we've got is pretty good. I'm quite pleased about this.
Go on then, Richard. The Hey Kids Book Festival. Our first big keynote speaker is.
It's Anthony Horowitz.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
So Anthony Horowitz, who wrote the Stormbreaker and the Alex Rider books.
Yeah.
I think looking at his book sales, I think he's up in the 20 millions of book sales. Has written lots for TV and screen and things like that as well. So it all came about a bit by chance, to be honest. I did recommend his book when Nick did his initial Pass a Book Day. But we decided to make an event of it, and my son and I had dressed up in our James Bond style tuxedos, and we stuck it on Twitter. Anthony Horowitz saw it and liked the picture, and we managed to get in touch that way, and he's been very kind. I spoke to his management company today, and he's agreed to do a half-hour video chat where he's going to speak to Nick or myself, talk a little bit about his writing, and he's agreed to take a couple of video calls, possibly in from some pupils, and answer some questions that they're going to email or send in as well. So really, really excited about that, and looking forward to that as well.
Well, I'll tell you something, it certainly won't be me. This is your gig. You've co-curated it. You've taken those leads. This is your moment, because I've seen the passion you have for it, for literature for your young people. I've seen the passion that you put into teaching those books. No way I'm going to do it. I wouldn't. I'd just be a little waffle if I was there. No, it's your moment. So, who else should we chase up? Do you think? Anybody got any ideas there? What do you think, Graham? Anybody else we should connect with?
David Williams, you got hold of him yet?
I don't know if anybody's got hold of him, has they? Be hard work.
J.K. Rowling.
I nearly said something very controversial there. I'll bite my tongue in case he does come on.
Stephen King. Go big.
Do you know what, Graham? You joke about this, but it's amazing. I didn't have a Twitter account till I met Nick, and Nick persuaded me that I needed to get involved in this. And since, I would say the majority of people that I follow on Twitter are either teachers like yourself, who I find it really helpful and inspirational to sort of be in touch with on Twitter, and authors. And I am absolutely amazed at the level of engagement that some of these big authors have with just little old, me, a reader from the Isle of Wight. And it doesn't take much. And I think it's one of the best things about Twitter is all I've done is recommended a couple of books, or I've put, currently reading and enjoying this book. And all of a sudden you see you've got a like from the author, and you put a comment on saying, oh, wow, I really enjoyed it. And you get a direct message back. And it's absolutely amazing. It's a bit fanboy and a bit sad. But, to me, these guys are absolute hero inspirations. And I love reading Anthony Horowitz books. And, oh, there he is. There we are, James Bond and his dad.
There's your little picture up there. Can you see that, Gray?
No, not yet. I will in a minute. There it is. Yeah, nice. Yeah.
So, I've had some amazing engagement from some children's authors. I recommended the book that I was talking about earlier, The Explorer, to Nick, and I put a post about that on Instagram. And the next thing I knew, I had a message from Catherine Rondell saying that, she was glad we was enjoying it, and that she was quite happy for me to read it online and forget about all the rights from the publishers and things like that as the author. She gave me permission to read it and broadcast it on YouTube so that my class didn't miss out on the ending. And it doesn't take much, for a little message to make a massive amount of difference to an audience. And I just hope I can pass some of that on to the children in the class, the enjoyment and that love of reading.
And there's never been a better time to connect to people either, because they're technically available. They're at home. People are still busy, but I think the key thing about this is it's actually a fairly time efficient way of doing things for them as well, isn't it? They can do it without a massive effort. They haven't got to jump on a train, because let's face it, a half-hour talk is still a day out of your diary half the time, depending on where it is. So there we go. So that's that's our big announcement for that weekend, Gray.
Yeah, sounds good.
I don't know if you saw, but we did have Suggs on the show the other week. Did you see that? Suggs of Madness was on here. We had Suggs from Madness on here the other week.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did have Suggs of Madness. Yeah, Suggs.
Yeah, I've seen them alive a few times, to be fair.
Well, they were there.
The last time I saw him was at the Isle of Wight Festival, and he'd had a few too many to drink. Let's just say that.
That sounds like Suggs.
Yeah.
So he's a good mate. We've got this. One of our team is Chris Sullivan, who used to run nightclubs in Soho. He's a real impresario, artist, author, very connected. So he's best mates with all those people. So Paul Weller lives around the corner here. Suggs. So I'm going to twist his arm and see what he can pull out the bag for the 29th, 30th. I think we only need one of those a night, don't you, to make it stand out? Because let's face it, between the Netflix.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So we've got a few people like that up our sleeves. So we're going to pull some tricks out and some. But the guy in Cornwall the other night with his sax and his guitar were brilliant. Had a beautiful guitarist yesterday. We were in Glastonbury yesterday, and we had a guy called Rodney Brannigan, who's a beautiful guitarist from Texas, lives in Somerset now with his partner, and they spend the whole year restoring musical instruments that all the local authorities have chucked out, and they give them away at Glastonbury free to kids who deserve them. And they get, imagine going to Glastonbury, seeing a band, being given a guitar, and then learning, having a few lessons, then going, what a journey, what a story that is, isn't it?
Yeah, amazing.
So that's that kind of vibe. So we want to try and get some of that. And we've just done 2 days with Tony Cordy, who runs the Kids Field at Glastonbury. And he's got all these amazing connections. So we're going to see what we can do to pull out an amazing weekend, a little bit of everything. It's a big ask to ask people to sit down for a whole day looking at a screen. I wouldn't do that. I think we'll probably just go for evenings, to be honest. Maybe a couple of things during the day, an hour in the morning, hour in the afternoon, and then sort of 2 or 3 hours in the evening. But 3 days of that, and if you can get some good names in, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen,
you should try and get hold of C6 Steve. He makes his own guitars. Have you seen him?
Oh, he's great, isn't he? Yeah. Why do I know?
Yeah.
He was a guy. Well, he makes his own guitars and banjos out of old hubcaps and car parts and stuff like that, doesn't he?
Wasn't it all
He's
a
been doing
scam, like that C6 thing?
Oh, don't spoil it, Graham.
Wasn't it all a scam that he was meant to be homeless, wasn't he? And he actually wasn't. He's some millionaire. It was all, yeah. You look into it.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, because he's got a connection to Cornwall as well.
It is.
Anyway, I'm just going to check. I don't think we're. I think that's a wrap now. Actually, I'm delighted with that. It's a shame it's 4 white blokes, but Rob DeBank, you two, and We do our bit for diversity. We're not blind to it. We're embarrassed by it, but what can you do at short notice? And anybody in the Isle of Wight who we could have got in today, who sees this, we'll put a shout out and say, all roads lead to the 20th, 29th, 30th, 31st. We've got Arts Council funding to pay artists who are struggling for work and money at the moment, to give them a platform, to give them a little bit of money for a few drinks and some food, and we'll take it from there. But thank you both very much. Thank you for your time.
Cheers,
thanks, Graham. Thanks for popping in.
Cheers, Rich. Nice to see you again, mate.
And
Take care, Graham.
And I'm just going to play this past the book. Do me a favour, Graham. Just help us get the word out for that weekend. We'll have you on that committee. And once you've got your global thing out the way, give us a good old push for the... as you're very generous with your retweets. And I know some people are a bit funny about it, but I just think one thing. Sharing is caring. It's not a big ask, is it, really? Let's face it.
Absolutely.
It's not a big ask. I asked
Thanks for me.
Cheers then.
Thanks for the t-shirt too. Loving it.
Let's have a look. Oh, that's the one I left when you were down there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
I didn't realise you got that on. Yeah, there you go. We'll have that on. Fantastic. It's funny actually because the Arts Council have got an organisation in the southeast that are responsible for the arts and everything, and they liked one of our tweets, and I said, any chance you could retweet it? Because we're down here, we're on an Arts Council grant, and I got like a 5-paragraph policy statement on social media. And I thought, whatever, okay. I was delighted they had a policy statement, but they could have just retweeted it, couldn't they, in the first place?
Yeah, right.
Whatever. Especially as Ken Robinson is their patron. Anyway, let you get on. Lovely to see you both. And we'll be in contact. Thanks very much.
Take care, my friend.
Take care.
Cheers, Rich.
Bye.
And thanks very much to you, Richard, as well. That was lovely little announcement there. Oh, he's gone as well, not to worry. That's all good. Everybody's gone. Well, there you go. That's our day on the Isle of Wight, the art of the Isle of Wight. We met 2 teachers there, had a chat with Rob de Bank, happy with that, sowed a few ideas and popped some stuff in there. We're making it up as we go along. We're doing our best. But this is the Hay Book Festival. This is the little video that we made to promote that. So do be a part of this. Anthony Horowitz, now confirmed as our keynote speaker. Whoa, this is pretty scary up here. Take those down now. I don't think we need that. So we'll just catch that, Dave. Yep. Sorry, mate. Oh, sorry. Birdman on the loose in Westminster. I want to talk to you about books just really, really quickly. This is a book that I'm particularly fond of at the moment. David Almond, My Dad's a Birdman. We're going to be announcing a massive book thing in the next few minutes, so stay with me. I love this book. This is a book about a dad after my heart. Dad is building a pair of wings, eating flies and feathering his nest. Auntie Doreen is getting cross and making dumplings. Mr. Poop is parading the streets, shouting louder and louder. And even Mr. Mint, the head teacher, is getting in a flap. And watching it all is Lizzie, missing her mum. No, not even missing her mum, missing her mam. And looking after Dad and thinking how beautiful the birds are. What's behind it all? It's the Great Human Bird Competition, of course. And that book is such an inspiration for me. It's a book about a dad who's a bit crazy, he acts a bit crazy, to inspire his kids, to inspire other kids. He wants to fly over the River Tyne. He's covered himself in feathers. Very, 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 very Icarus-y. So what's it all about? Well, we've got a book thing going on. I've got my favourite t-shirt on here. This was inspired by this book, the Seth Godin book, The Icarus Deception. And I know a few of you out there are fans of this, people like David Waring up there in Chester. And there's a lovely little piece in this, The Icarus Deception. It's about Icarus, as you know, the Greek myth, the boy who was told not to fly too close to the sun because his wings might melt. The boy who was told not to fly too close to the water because he might get wet and drown. He was given rules and to fly within those. And we've got to help our kids fly high. We've got to help them aim high. We've got to help them find their passion. We call it their art. And in this book, Seth Godin talks about art is frightening. Art isn't pretty. Art isn't painting. Art isn't something you hang on the wall. Art is what you do when we're truly alive. If you've already decided that you're not an artist, it's worth considering why you made that decision and what it might take to unmake it. If you've announced that you've no talent in anything, then you're hiding. Art might scare you. Art might bust you. But art is who we are and what we do and art is what we need. An artist is someone who uses bravery, insight, creativity and boldness to challenge the status quo. And an artist takes it all of it, the work, the process, the feedback from those we seek to connect with, very, very personally. Art isn't a result, it's a journey. The challenge of our time is to find a journey worthy of your heart and your soul. The 24th of April, we're going to be doing the Hey Kids Book Festival. And today, I'm launching the Pass a Kids book thing. So one of the books that's really inspired me is this book, and if you know anything about me, you'll know about this book, Rocket Boys, a story of 4 boys growing up in West Virginia in the 50s, didn't want to be coal miners, saw the Sputnik satellite and learnt to make rockets, and ended up working for NASA. And Homer Hickam, the author of this book, sold millions of copies all over the world. Homer Hickam, the author of this book, has agreed to be the patron of our Rocket Kids Club, which is an incredible honour. One of the things we want to do with our Hey Book Festival, Hey Kids Book Fest, is to inspire people to share their love of reading, to share their favourite books. And I'm working with Rich Simpson, who's a fantastic primary teacher down there on the Isle of Wight, who I met when we did an Isle of Wight art takeover. He had a really obvious passion for books. It was incredible how he was inspiring his Year 6 kids down there in his school. So what I propose today is that we start a hashtag Pass a Kids book. And I'm going to chuck this book down to Rich Simpson, down there in the Isle of Wight somewhere, I think over that way somewhere. I'm going to chuck, or is it over there? Maybe over there. I'm going to chuck this book over to Rich Simpson and hope you can catch it. Catch this, Rich. Oh, there we go.
Well, thanks for the recommendation, Nick. I'm looking forward to reading it.
Everybody I've given a copy of the Rocket Kids book. I would love you to make a film of you catching that book, picking up a book that you're going to pass on and pass it off the screen, and let's do one of those keepy uppy but with books to celebrate children's reading, to celebrate children's literature. And the people I'd love to see involved in this would be David Waring up there in Cheshire. I'd love to see Simon Kidwell involved, Simon Smith over in Whitley Bay, who's fantastic with his picture book work, and I'd love to see a 60-second film by any of those people with those books. Dave Shakeshaft, Chris Tolson, Chris Dyson, Rachel Snake, all these people I've given a copy of this book to. I'd love to know what you think. And share, spread the love. I'm trying to think of that lovely head teacher at Woodlands Primary in Chester, actually, I gave a copy to on her birthday. So I want to see you give us one of these. So pass the book, that's what that's all about there. So, winding up a day on the Isle of Wight. I don't even know where we are tomorrow. I think we're in Liverpool. So if anybody's online still, if anybody's still on air, we had a break in transmission. We'll see you tomorrow. This film I'm just about to show you is our play-out film. It just says everything about the generosity, the connections, the art of Rob and Josie DeBank and what they've enabled us to achieve, what they've enabled us to deliver. If anybody ever tells you it might not work, just remember this film. Whoop. Why is that not working then?
It might not work, but here's the thing. The guy who invented the ship also invented the shipwreck. And either you're in or you're out. Either you want to play this game or you don't. Art doesn't work because we did something conventional and predictable, and here it is industrialized, right? Art works because we connect.
So the festival that we will be organising in 2022 is a festival of creativity in its broadest sense. So what we're looking for is events that will help to bring people together and show the value of art.
Debate like this is absolutely overdue. Being from a working class family as well, we've never had access to the arts.
I think this is amazing, and we should encourage Nick to do more of this so that we can connect friends through art. It's actually amazing.
Well, a lot of schools have taken music out of their curriculum, and I find that really important.
This book is going to change lives. There are 7 stories.
Keep doing what you're doing. I love your passion. Please keep doing what you're doing, inspiring the kids. I think it's great. Not enough parents spend enough time with the kids. They leave them on the iPads and things like that, and I absolutely love it. Keep doing what you're doing. I love your passion.
Boys will be boys. Better let them have their toys. Girls will be girls, cute ponytails and curls. Must put an end to this stress and strife. I think I want to live that sporting life.
I'm going to make it happen for you, Nick.
I appreciate that.
Well, I'm going to make it happen for you because what you're doing is, in the end, absolutely brilliant.
I had the idea of getting a big screen to come here and celebrate, and I did a thing called a crowdfunder. I said to lots of people, I only gave myself 24 hours, and they said, you'll never do it.
One time for the Lord.
Art and creativity is absolutely everything, you know, to secure the jobs for the future.
Niall, what does collaboration mean to you?
For me, collaboration is everything. So my whole life is a collaboration.
Noel Rogers there, a connection we made at Camp Festival, and Camp Festival has just inspired so much for us. But this film, I'm going to play that now, is the film of our summer, the film of this month. The power of art to connect a community demonstrated here so perfectly in this film at Bradford Academy St James, where we're going to be at the end of May with a Creative Careers Fair. It might not work, but here's the thing. It might.
I have a dream. One day, this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men